That's why I waited in my car for the last 1 hour and 30 minutes. The reason for that is the topic you're discussing is very important. And the topic you're discussing is important not just for Indonesia, it's important for the Muslim Ummah. Um, we Muslims are generally forced to talk about this topic. We're forced. And we're forced because what is happening is that there is so much that is clouding our mind and our ability to think, our ability to decide, our ability to conclude, our ability to form opinions. And we're forced to form opinions that are not our own. So all the data that comes to us is by default corrupted data. We have reached a point today that somebody will send Brother Abdul Wahid here a message with a hadith. And if he doesn't check the hadith riwayah, he will find out that it's a fake hadith. It's not a real hadith. Okay, we have found instances where Jewish organizations have claimed to be Muslims and have claimed to launch initiatives to support Muslims and Islam. And we Muslims are so gullible, so weak that we don't understand who's a friend and who's an enemy because you're online. So you don't know whether this is Brother Abdul Wahid or this is Brother John Doe. We don't know. We don't seem to realize that most of what we get as information is directed to us, which means that it is meant for us. It is not the right information. And the reason for that is we Muslims, do not create information. We don't do that. We don't create enough content. So if you look at the world of content and data, how much contribution from Muslims? Very little. If you look at, and this is why it's important for all of you today on this call, because you're academics, you're professors, you're talking to every day to young people. It's important for you to share this information today, what I'm talking to you about. My background is technology. I was heading British Telecom for Middle East and Africa. I sit on board of companies where people like Mercedes sit with me, Sony sit with me, Intel sit with me. And some of the things I understood from them was shocking. Like when somebody tells you blockchain, when somebody tells you AI, and we have these preconceived ideas that blockchain is doing this and AI is doing that. And the reality is far from the truth. Blockchain has been in the market for almost 8 to 10 years. There's no single commercial application of blockchain. When you talk about drones have been in the market for almost 8 to 10 years. I remember sitting with Intel and I told them, we're having a lunch break, and I said, you invested around 2 billion in various drone startups. Is drones really something big? So the guy tells me, he said, you know how many drops does Amazon do in a day? I said, no. He said, Amazon does around 200,000 drops a day. So imagine if just 10% of those drops were done by drones. So you're talking about 20,000 drops by drones. So he says, you know what will happen if we had 20,000 drones making drops? I said, what? He said, we need a new air traffic control. There will be so many drones in the skies, and that's dangerous because if a drone falls down, it can actually kill somebody. Second, if you ask any hacker, he will tell you the easiest thing to hack is a drone. It's very easy to hack a drone. So when I asked him, okay, then why are you investing so much money in drones? He said, it's a hype. So imagine there's no commercial application. It's a hype. The next week, I sit with Mercedes, and the head of autonomous car is with me. And I'm asking him, you're investing so much in driverless cars like Tesla is, like Elon Musk is. So is the world really going to driverless cars? He says, do you know where we started all of this? I said, no, where? He said, there was a research that says less than 1% people in the world who are drivers are most likely to have an accident. I said, you started all of this to target less than 1%? He said, yes. So I said, how much reality is it for us to see driverless cars? He said, not till while I'm alive. I said, why? He said, the study that I looked at, which was in 2010, and I was talking to him 2018, he said by 2020, we should have 30% driverless cars in the world. He said, look around you. Do you see driverless cars? So what we Muslims need to understand is, I don't mind anybody debating and discussing hoax and fake. You have to realize Hoax and fake is the new normal. It is not odd. It is the new normal. We discussing it is odd. What we need to do is to counter it. And to counter it, what we Muslims need, which is a requirement of a Muslim, is discipline. One of the first disciplines we need is we need to start being objective and not subjective. We spend enough time discussing a topic without reaching any conclusion. We have debates, we have seminars, we have gatherings, we have huge protests without having any conclusion. Because we know we don't own the conclusion. You want to know why we don't own the conclusion? Who owns all the data? Majority data in the world. It's Facebook. Who stores all the data in the world? Majority data. It's Amazon. What are we going to do about it? They run the data, they push the data, they manage the data, they store the data. Who owns all the submarine cables in the world that touch Hudson Bay in New York? It's the US companies, not us. If there is something we need to do, then we need to follow what happened after World War II, right? So after World War II, when there were two losers, right? In World War II, there were just two losers. There were two countries who lost, Germany and Japan. Germany was declared a loser when the Allied forces defeated Hitler and took over everything. So Germany could not even import food. They needed approval from the United Nations to import food. Japan was devastated. America dropped 2 bombs and literally alienated the whole country. Guess what? If I ask you today, which are the 2 economic powers in the world, you'll say Japan and Germany. How is it that 2 countries that were defeated, completely humiliated, insulted, embarrassed, today are the powerful nations in the world? Because they kept objective focus. They don't do what we do as Muslims. They don't like to gather together to have so many conversations. Oh, guess what? He burned the Quran. Oh, guess what? Allah has said in the Quran, he doesn't need us to save the Quran. He doesn't need us to save his religion. He will do it himself. That person in Holland who became a very staunch enemy of Islam went to his parliament and spoke against Islam, and the Quran later accepted Islam. The head of counterterrorism in the UK who was investigating the 2008 tube bombings, when he realized that I need to figure out what these terrorists were thinking, and he started studying the Quran, he accepted Islam. We have to focus on what we can do. So if Germany and Japan can come from defeat to become one of the most powerful nations in the world, is because they are objective. We have to stop being subjective. Hoax and fake, again, I'm going to repeat this, is a normal. It is not abnormal. If we as Muslim countries and societies don't set controls, if we don't go to our policy makers, our members of parliament, our prime ministers and presidents, say, listen, we want new policies for data. We refuse to accept this algorithm. We refuse to accept this platform. And you as Muslim community, Indonesia has 200 million, something more Muslims, you should invest in a platform. What did China do? Does China use Facebook? Does China use Google? Does China use WhatsApp? No, they have their own platforms. Why are they one of the biggest economies? Because they create the infrastructure they needed. Those people have decided to be objective. They don't want to be subjective. Everybody in the world say, oh, the Chinese dragon, as if there is a real dragon that is moving around. No, they are just economically very, very sound. They understand what we need to do. And guess what? Some of the best economic policies has been set in by Islam. Islam has given us the best economic policies. In fact, the country you guys are all sitting in Indonesia, do you know how Islam spread there? It's spread because of trade. There was no war. There was no sword swinging around. Nobody defeated Indonesia to make it a Muslim country. Mashallah, you people are more following Muslims than probably some of the Arab lands. Why? Because you adopted the religion with a sense of gratitude and acceptance. So today I invite you as academics, as senior society peers, that I want you to focus on objective solutions. I want you to spend time with the young boys and girls and tell them that, listen, this social media that is there is one of the largest fitnas in the world. In fact, in one of my lectures, I said that, do you know that which is the biggest AI on the planet? And all my audience started to say Amazon and Apple and this. I said, no, the biggest AI on the planet is Shaitan. Because Amazon, the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and Apple, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, how old are they? 30, 40, 50, 60, inshallah, 100 years old? Shaitan is 60,000 years old. The only thing he does is to say and do what he promised Allah in the Quran. What does he say? I will take your people away from your deen. And then he said that I will tell your people, La talumuni, lumu anfusakum. Don't blame me. Blame your nafs. What are we going to say? Oh, we spend time discussing fake and hoax. Oh, we spend time on social media. Spend time on social media. Listen to the right scholars. Get in from the social media. But guide policies on your social media platform for the younger generation and the Gen Z and the seniors to not waste time trying to feel sad and trying to feel disappointed. When Khabbab bin Arad radiallahu anh, one day got very tired with all the torments and torture of the Meccans, and he complained to the Prophet ﷺ, oh, Prophet of Allah, when will we get victory? What happened? The Prophet ﷺ, what did he do? He turned red. And he was very upset. He said, you're complaining, and people before you were torn between two camels, correct? Guess who was Khabbab bin Arad? Who was Khabbab bin Arad radiallahu anh? He was a Sahaba who basically was tortured by his owner, the Meccan lady, so bad that she would put a metal iron clad on his head just to torture him. She would take an iron comb, put it in the coal, and scale his back. When Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh became Khalifa many years later, and Khabbab was removing his shirt, Umar saw his back and started to weep. This is Khabbab bin Arad. He was complaining. Today we Muslims have become very, very common for us to complain and feel sad. Allah has said that He doesn't need the blood and the hoof and the skin of the adhiyah that we do, the slaughter. Hence, He doesn't need our sadness. He needs our objectivity. He needs for us to do something. He needs for us to act. He needs for us to get together. He needs for us to believe that what we have is the best. We have to believe that what we have is the best. Because Allah has said, I've created you as the best. And the deen given to us by the Prophet ﷺ is the best. Before any other deen, after any other concept, everything. Why do the other deens believe that we are a problem? Because they know what we have is the best. Right? So this is the whole thing. So we should use social media for our purpose. We should create our own platforms. We should encourage these young boys and girls, Muslims, in our colleges and universities and ask them, why are you not launching a startup? Why are you not launching a competition for Facebook? You have 200 million plus Muslims in Indonesia. You have 200 million plus Muslims in Pakistan. You have 200 million plus Muslims in India. You have 150 something million in Egypt. And you have another 150 million or so in Turkey. This itself, if you just combine your Asian belt, you have 1 billion Muslims. Do you know that the most prosperous economy in the world, and I will just take another 5 minutes, I don't want to take more of your time. The most prosperous economies in the world are the economies that have more under 18 people. Why? Because these are the people who are going to be online on social media. They will have a new job, they will spend. So the highest under 18 population in the world, according to statistics, is India. India has 400 million. The second highest is China. They have 248 million. Guess how many we Muslims are in the world under 18? We are 1 billion. But because we think as, oh, I am Indonesian Muslim, oh, I am Kuwaiti Muslim, oh, I am Egyptian Muslim. No, we are one ummah. We have to start thinking like one ummah. If we don't start thinking like one ummah, then we will be isolated just the way that the others, our enemies want us to be. They want us to be isolated. They want us to be different. They want us to think that, oh, he's from Indonesia. Oh, he's from Sweden. Oh, he's from UK. We have to collect together. We have to make sure that we are working together, following what? The same Quran and Sunnah. Today, the Khatib in our masjid, mashallah, may Allah reward him for all the good that he does. He said, you have people among you who will convince you using social media that hadith is wrong. Why? Because Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh only stayed 2.5 years with the Prophet ﷺ. So how do you believe that he can record all these hadiths? Why are they doing this? They are doing this to draw us away from our core. Because if you don't have sunnah, you don't have iman. So social media is a plague. It is not a problem, it is a plague. But that plague is something that we will have to live with, manage and control, just how we control shaitan. Shaitan is doing waswasa every day. So if Brother Abdul Wahid is going to Fajr to the masjid every day, Shaitan will not waswasa for him to say, oh, brother, don't go to masjid today. No, he will say, please do some lying, some white lie, not full lie, white lie. You know what? Charge extra without telling him. Okay, so Shaitan's AI is a constant evolution of measuring what the personality is. So let's not try to solve the problem, because the problem is Shaitan. It's not social media, it's Shaitan. Shaitan, Allah has said there will be jinn and ins. Who's ins? Humans. So if we have these big social media owners, they are humans, they are not jinns. All right. I think we have a solution. And the solution is that we stick to the Sunnah, we go to the Quran, and we collectively think and we solve. And the one thing that Allah wants us to do, and He's mentioned it in the Quran, is sabr. We have to show patience, because patience gives you hikmah, and hikmah gives you the ability to think right. So one of the things that I've done, and then I will close, is that I've recently launched the Global Islamic Chamber of Trade and Commerce. And you'll be surprised to know, when I did my research, I realized that the Muslim Ummah does not have a common platform to engage as trade and business, as thinker, etc. So alhamdulillah, I've launched it, and the Brother Abdul Wahid is on it as well. And I would invite all of you also to join. Thank you for having me here today. I'm really happy that I'm among the peers of the community. May Allah reward you for all the good that you do. May Allah guide me and you towards everything that is right. May Allah save our ummah from all the fitna and fasad. May Allah keep our younger generation focused on Iman. May Allah keep Shaitan away from our thinking and our activities. And may we all sit like this together to do good every day, every night, every week, every month, and every year, until Allah puts us in the highest rank in Jannah together. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring, my brother Abdullah from Kuwait.